So I'm Sasha Bedding. I live and work in Hartlepool, which is a town in the northeast of England, and I work for an NGO.
Mr. Sasha Bedding for services to the community in Hartlepool.
Alongside doing that very practical work, I'm actively involved in a lot of policy work with national politicians and the civil service to try and help them formulate better policies so that we're not continually having to pick up the mistakes of policies and try and get them to do things better. Apolinaire arrived in Stockton through his route from Burkina Faso, and he showed, even then as a young man, a spark, a creative spark, somebody who wanted to get things done. He's going to make his home, but he was never going to settle for just being somebody in the background. And Apolinaire's entrepreneurialism and understanding of business, and he very quickly understood how business worked in the UK. And we asked him to be one of our workers to work with people who were looking to establish new businesses in the area. He was brilliant at doing that. So he was able to help other communities and other people from different communities, including the white community, establish successful businesses, to become self-employed, to look at import-export and so on. And he was a real addition to the team. It was brilliant.
My name is Yasmin Khan, and I am a founder and director of the Halo Project charity based in the North East, and I am also the National Advisor for the Welsh Government. What we and Apollo are not very good at doing is singing about how well we're doing, how much we've taken other people on our journey to achieve a dream, how we've really not disconnected from the original roots we come from, and to make sure that we stay true to our culture and our heritage. And Apollo is one such individual who's not only followed his dream, he's taken others with him. He's made people believe in what he has and what he wants to progress with. He's nurtured and mentored young people in the process. He's engaged so many people. So to recognize an individual like Apollo, who has done so much for the community, who has really, alongside adversity, followed and steered fast forward in accelerating that ambition that he had. But he's always been authentic, he's always been true to what he believes in, and he hasn't changed. And that is really important about being authentic for others and making sure that you keep your identity. Because as we know, there are many people who lose that just to get to where they need to be much quicker and much painlessly.
My name is Hilaire Anyama. I am Togolese, the elected representative of the Togolese diaspora in the UK, meaning I am the link between the Togo community living in the UK and the government of Togo, but also the government of the United Kingdom. I'm not just talking about a friend here. I'm talking about somebody who has shown me the value of hard work, the value of integrity. This is a person, even in the deepest, darkest time of his life, he is still positive. He always has his goals, vision, purpose in front of him. It's very rare to see somebody who can then be that focused, hardworking, but also full of integrity. It's something I've seen in Apolinaire. Now you add to that his business acumen. He's very, how you say this? He's very sharp in assessing opportunities and knowing this is going to work or not going to work. Because he's already ready to put the hard work in. And once he knows this is going to work, Apolinaire goes for it until it's done.
My name's Trevor Wing. I'm the Chief Executive of Thornaby Football Club here in the UK, and I've been involved in football since I was 16-year-old. and I got my 50-year award from the Football Association about 6 years ago, or 7 years ago. So, and I've been in America doing football in America for the last 32 years, taking referees over to do work in Minnesota for the USA Cup, and they've recognised my efforts twice, so I've had 2 awards. When Apollo was done his coaching and he was still playing football, I believe, as well, we worked together for about 4 or 5 seasons, which was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And we got on well, and we still get on well, you know, and he tells me off and I tell him off. Fantastic guy to work with. The supporters absolutely loved him because he would talk to them. He wouldn't say no to anybody. If somebody was coming and wanted to talk to him, he'd do it, even the kids. You know, he'd go and sit there with the kids and chat with the kids on match days and stuff like that, you know, because he was a chairman that people liked, you know. It was a pity that, you know, he got other avenues to go, you know, and then we lost him. But that's football. Nobody stays there forever and a day, do they? You know, they move on and then they come back and move on again, you know.
I'm Shade Shongoawa, the founder of Taste of Africa Northeast, an event that's been going on for the last 21 years. I started the event to showcase the positive side of Black people and to break down the stereotypes of Black people living in the Northeast. Apollo was recognized for his selflessness and love for the community, irrespective of what. He's one of those guys that when you give him a call, he's always at the other end of the phone, listening and looking for ways to help. And he never looks down on anything or anyone or small beginnings. He's always encouraging passionately because he wants to see the development of Black people in the Northeast. Even despite when it's been badly done by other people, he strongly believes people are good. So in considering his award several times, it's been that heart for seeing change, for seeing fairness, for seeing equity, for seeing development, for seeing that which the community can become. Come on, Apollo!
Paul Edwards, Middlesbrough born and bred, semi-professional as a player, moved into management at a young age, maybe 34, 35. Managed a couple of successful teams in the Teesside area in England. I've won divisions in the tier 6 of the pyramid, been to cup finals and managed a couple of successful teams. I'd been a manager previously at Thornaby, and then I'd left and I'd gone to Billingham, and we were quite successful there. At the same time, Apollo had come into Thornaby, and I was aware of Apollo. I'd met him on numerous occasions. Loved his philosophy and his enthusiasm to strive and be successful, not just as a club, as a community, as people. In that period, the manager wasn't quite as successful as Apollo wanted at Thornaby, so that's when it sort of triggered the phone calls. And as soon as Apollo said, "I want you in here and I'll make it happen," there was nothing else to discuss for me. I want to play for this man. I want to see what he's about. I felt confident that he'd look after me, because what you've got to realise as a manager is there's a lot of people when it's not going well and not with you, supporters, committee, players, but the man at the helm is supposed to be the man who has your back, and I just felt so confident in the guy. Obviously the transition happened, the phone calls happened, the meeting happened. I went to a meeting with Apollo, and his words were, I want Paul Edwards to be my manager.
My name's Gary Bennett. I'm an ex-professional footballer. I started my career off at Manchester City, where I started off as a young lad and then went on to play for Cardiff for 3 years and then signed for Sunderland, where I spent 11 and a half years playing football.
A piece of individual skill from Gary Bennett, the Sunderland captain, consigned United to their first defeat, and joy on Wearside was unconfined.
I was the second black player to play for Sunderland. There was only one player before me who actually played for Sunderland, and that was back in 1984. I was a manager of a football club, Darlington Football Club, which was again something unique and is still something unique because obviously there's not many black managers. So I've had the opportunity to manage a league club, and that's the first time I ran into Apollo as a player coming to the football club. We've kept in touch ever since, friends, and again with the work which he was doing was fantastic. Yeah, the life skills, football skills, they both relate with each other, and I'm really thankful as well because you know, Apollo is a person who rings me up, you know, especially when he's got questions to ask or wants, shall we say, pointing in the right direction, and we exchange conversations and look for, shall we say, a pathway. And it's unbelievable what he's done, especially being a chairman of a football club. Again, that is something special, that's something unique, because again, when we talk about black managers, we also got to talk about black chairmen as well, and especially in football, there's none about.
I think Apollo would always be an asset to anywhere he goes. He's gained so much experience, I suppose, coming here, living here, the struggles of survival here, from running different businesses to dealing with different people from different backgrounds, not just Africans, to going international, to dealing with personal issues. I think over the last 20 years that I've known him, he's gained so much experience that you can't buy with money.
Yeah, so one of the stories I had with Apolinaire was because people were interested in him and his story, we had the opportunity to meet Tony Blair as Prime Minister, at which point he was quite, Tony Blair was interested in Apolinaire's outlook on employability and skills and training. The prevailing thought process at the time was we need to up people's benefits. We need people to live a comfortable lifestyle if they can't work. Whereas Apolinaire's was very much more, actually what you want to do is incentivise work. You get people to work harder and earn more money rather than be able to sit at home and not do that. And to be fair to Tony Blair, he took it on board. And he was surprised that anybody would challenge him with that, so that work pays more than benefits. And I think, and you've certainly seen that in the last government, some of those ideas were beginning, before Tony Blair stepped down as Prime Minister, some of those ideas were coming through. So things like working tax credits, where the taxpayer would top up your earnings if you didn't earn enough. They weren't there at the time, and I think that was the response. The response was actually, if the taxpayer can top up so people then feel you're better off going to work, rather than cut someone's benefits, we made work pay better. And I think that's probably down to Apolinaire's influence. It certainly wasn't mine, because I hadn't thought of it.
Yes, Apollinaire has always had that vision, that drive, that commitment, and I'm so pleased with him today. He is successful, I might confess, in many things he does today. Businesses in the UK, businesses in Qatar, traveling the world, being a football agent, a coach. He's even had a team in England. He was a president of a football club in England. So they showed the commitment of the person I'm talking about.
The only advice I would give him is to keep on doing what he's doing, not to refrain or move off the path he's on, to really be vocal in his opinions respectfully, and to make sure that he always remembers, you know, don't ever have an imposter syndrome. you are good enough, you are worthy enough, and you are exactly where you need to be.
I'll say about Apollo, keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on working with wisdom. Keep on desiring the best for yourself and for everybody. And the sky will always be the limit. You don't even have to ask for it.